edge of the horizon. Inside I'm feeling something rising. I'd slow down, but I know that I can't. This could be my last chance. Heart racing, now I need to dive in. No cage, I'm leaving the asylum. I love that chaos in my mind. Yeah, maybe I'm a madman. Watch me, I'm a maniac. Can't stop me, I'm a maniac. Riding on the rage, feeding on the flames that won't ever change. No, maniac. My obsession is chasing down a new rush. One drop of adrenaline in my blood. Catch fire from the moment that I wake up. Guess it's in my nature. I got a taste for the madness, so give me the gas and the matches. It's too wild, just running on the crazy. You could never stop me. Watch me, I'm a maniac. Can't stop me, I'm a maniac. Riding on the rage, feeding on the flames that won't ever change. No.
All right. Look at you guys.
Yo,
What's up?
Dustin,
And Sam in the flesh, in the virtual flesh.
mutual flesh. Yeah, I should have drove over to your house, Sam. We could have just
Yeah,
done it together.
you could have just sat on my lap. It would have been fine.
That would have been good.
You know, Dustin, we were just talking with Sam about how, like, the longer you're in Nashville, the further away you move from the city. That's such a funny and interesting concept.
It kind of is. I'm actually closer than I've been. I'm kind of working my way back up slowly, maybe.
Yeah, he's in the back half of the Nashville life, where eventually you realize that you're too far out and that you need to creep a little bit back in. I'm not to that point yet. I'm a little bit behind Dustin in that way. So, but we keep talking about, oh, let's go to Cool Springs now. So, it's crazy.
So, Sam, you're not in the I'm going to go hunting, there's no cell phone signal part of your career yet.
No,
Okay.
no, definitely not. No.
All right. Sounds good. Well, guys, it's so great. It's so great to have you guys. I mean, Zayde, it's great to see you again. And Sam, it's a pleasure to meet
Yeah.
you. And, Dustin, I think I saw you a few months back at Soho House here in Nashville. And, for everybody that doesn't know, this was like kind of trendy club where like people like you guys hang out. But you were surrounded by a cool entourage, man. And I didn't want to like kill your vibe. You know what I mean?
Dude, you never killed my vibe to say hello. What were you in town for? Were you just hanging
I
out?
live here. I live here. I live in Nashville. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully I'll bump into you again.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. And Sam, for my audience that may not know you, you've had an incredibly prolific career. I mean, your songs have had over 6.5 billion streams on TikTok. You've done stuff with Kygo. You were on Wave and Rome with Josh Farrell there for a minute. So, you guys have done a bunch of stuff, but you guys, just combined for an incredible kind of new single that we're going to talk about, Maniac, with Aidan Dover as well. But let's start with this, guys. Listening to your discographies and the stuff that you guys have done, I mean, just in research alone, I feel like both of you have hit on some fucking dynamic, a sound that is way out of control. And what I mean that is, I love a success story, and it seems that there's something that you guys do with your sound just resonates with people. And sometimes even the industry doesn't get it, but it just resonates with the audience.
yeah.
I think like, a lot of the songs, we talk about so much of like overcoming and improving yourself and those types of, concepts. And that doesn't really ever land very often in top 40. And so I think, but people love that. They want to be energized in that way with music. And so we may not make it on top 40 very often with songs like that kind of in general, but people love that. They need that. They need moments where it's not a love song and it's not, this, whatever else. They want to feel empowered by that. And I think we see that a lot. We see it a lot with, parents and having something fresh for their kids that motivates their kids. And I just love that part of it. I think the thing that gets me most excited these days, because I'm a father, is when we when I get a message from a parent who sends me a video of their, 10-year-old or 11-year-old son using a song of mine or Sam's or whoever, and they're doing their walkout song for their baseball hit, they're up to bat song, and they playing these songs, they're getting up. Oh, that's great. I love that.
Absolutely. What about you, Sam? Anything to add there?
Yeah, I'll add the industry side because he touched everything that I was going to talk about. I love it when I see parents and I see people are like, listen, I went through back surgery and this song got me through that hard time in life. Like, I really feel like part of my purpose in life is to make music that makes life a little bit easier because it's hard. Every day's a struggle, and, the whole thing about you never know what somebody's going through. You never know their battle behind that kind of smiling face. And so I think that when we get messages like that, it just reminds us that the music matters. And then on the industry side, it's really interesting because whenever I go to LA, I was sitting with this manager who manages a very huge pop band that everyone knows, household name. And I remember them looking at me and asking me about Dustin's music, asking me about my music, and saying like, is this the new artist? Like, are you guys the new artist? Like, is this the new way? And it was interesting for him to be asking me that, like at the pinnacle of what they're doing, asking if this was the next wave. And I really feel like Nashville's been on the tip of that wave. It's been like really cool to see people like Dustin and some of my other friends like Unsecret and, Ruel and Flurry and Tommy Prophet and all these people here in Nashville creating this kind of specific, huge sound that a lot of times has encouraging messages and isn't just about love. Where love is important, it's definitely about other things, about going through life, about fighting back. And so it's been really cool. Me and Dustin have known each other for a while. We've kind of like done a little bit of writing together, but this song was the first time that we had really dove in and put our voices full on together on something.
Yeah, absolutely. But how did you guys meet each other, by the way?
How did we meet, Sam?
I'm trying to think.
Must have been just mutual sort of friends.
Yeah.
How long you been in Nashville? When did you move to town?
I moved to town in 2003, but I was in college, so I was just like a little baby.
Right.
3. So, I feel like we met maybe through like some, like you said, mutual friend.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened, but what we wrote, I think one of the first songs we wrote was that Man or a Monster song.
Yeah.
And at the time, Dustin was just getting started doing the Zayde Wølf project.
Right.
And I don't even know if I had heard anything from it. I had just, like, when we did the song, he had sung on it and he was like, hey, could we do it featuring Zayde Wølf? And I was like, oh, that's an amazing name. I'm like, what is that?
Right.
And I remember just like, it's just so funny to think back on that now, because now obviously things have gone so well and it's such a cool project. And so, yeah, I mean, we started writing stuff with me, and then seeing what Dustin's done for his artist project has been incredible. So,
yeah. By the way, Sam, do you have kids?
Sam.
What do you say?
Do you have kids, Sam?
Yeah, I have 3 kids. I have a 3-year-old little dude and a 6-year-old girl and then a 10-year-old girl. So they're all kind of little, and it is kind of fun. Like Dustin said, it's so fun when you see like kids their age, like being like out on the baseball field or whatever, using your music.
I mean, that's what I asked Sam and Dustin for both of y'all, is because you guys have really had prolific careers, and I'm wondering, now that you have kids, is that like creative vein, that creative muse? Does it happen as frequently when you have kids, or does it evolve? Because like you guys have done so much good stuff already. Does it slow down a little bit now that you're a little bit like more like established, or is it still like the hunger, like just consistent?
Can I go?
Yeah.
I think that songwriting and producing is a practice, and you just get up and you do it. Like, this is the thing that we're good at, and we're kind of made to, we're made to try to create songs, and it is so hard. I don't know that it's any easier now to make a song than it ever has been to make a song. There's always moments of struggle, and sometimes they come out pretty easy or easier, and sometimes you're going to write 10 versions of that song to try to make it happen. But it's a practice. I think that something that's very overlooked in some of the creative worlds out there. It's like you just have to get out there and do it. I was listening to an interview with R.L. Stine, the guy who wrote all the Goosebumps stuff.
Oh yeah.
And the guy still gets up and he writes for 2 hours or whatever after he has his coffee. It's like, I'm going to write for 2 hours, and that's his practice. And he is diligent into doing that. And I think habit forming sort of practices like that can kind of, they become exponential over time. I think it doesn't make the job easier, but but I think you create more opportunities because you're just going to get in there and do it.
Yeah. Would you agree with that, Sam?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I think when I first started, it was like, oh, I'm feeling something, and I pick up a guitar and I start playing it and I get the feelings out. And as much as I would love to be that forever, I think now it's sometimes with kids and family and life, it has to fit into pockets of time. So I had to learn how to feel something and then go, oh, I'm going to write that down and save it for later and put it aside, not just stop, because I used to stop everything and dive into that feeling, dive into that moment. But now I have to go, you know what? I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm the man of the house, I have things to do. I need to put this aside, and I'm going to come back to it when I have my write scheduled for next week from 11 to 5, and we get in with somebody that I just vibe with, and we write songs. And I feel like having a practice of writing with people that you write with often helps, because it's like it creates a synergy, and you kind of know what they're thinking and they know what you're thinking, and you know the flow of the day, and that really helps me. I feel like those kind of things to really get music that's like at a high level over and over and over again. But I mean, like Dustin said, sometimes you get in and you're like, this is not the day. This is not it. This is not the one. And you try to rewrite it and pivot, and like, oh, that's not the idea. Let's try this. Let's try this. And by the fourth pivot, you're like, I'm exhausted. Maybe we should just go home,
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I had that on Monday.
Everyone here in Nashville talks about the epic co-writes, when the huge singles comes out, but no one talks about the shitty ones. There must be a lot of like shitty, like bad first dates, right?
Yeah.
That like you
I even think about
it out.
I even think about when we were working on MANIAC, and we wrote it a year before, or started writing it a year before then it was released.
Yeah.
So we're working down at Sam's place, and we get a good concept going. We get a good kind of song going.
Yeah.
And then we kind of, Idon starts playing with the production a little more and dressing it out. And then Sam and I are kind of looking at ourselves, and we're like, man, I think the song's slow. I think we need to kind of work on where the tempo is. And so we kind of dug back in, and we re-recorded a bunch of stuff, sped the tempo up, and then we sped it up again, pushed the tempo up to kind of make it feel like it had some more momentum to it. And then we rewrote the chorus lyrics again, which caused us to come back in and we recut a whole bunch of vocals again, and then redid guitar parts. And so it took many sessions. I mean, it's not that any one of those was a real stinker, but we definitely worked for that song, I feel like.
Yeah, I think too, like we all have such a high level of expectation for ourselves, but also from each other. And so like when we hear the song, and if we don't feel overwhelming, like, oh, this is amazing, then I think me and Dustin are like, okay, well, how do we make it amazing? Like, what do we need to change? It's like, okay, let's fix the tempo. Let's fix the lyric. Like, okay, is this good? Like, and then Dustin's pushing Adon on production. Like, man, I think this sound could be better. I think this sound could be better. Maybe if we add this, and I'm over here going like, ooh, in the bridge, it'd be so cool if we like, and like,
right.
It's like, okay, how do I translate that? And, put programming, and it was really cool for all of us to work together, because we just all kind of have such a high expectation of ourselves and each other. And so, we really push for this one. It's not every day that I do that. I'm usually kind of like a day of gut guy. Like if it's great, it's great. If it sucks, it sucks. And this was like a process of like, it's really good. And then we pushed it to great, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, it is perfect. Like you guys nailed it with this one for sure. Dustin, let me ask you about, I thank you guys for your time. I know you guys have like, a whole bunch of stuff going on, but Dustin, let me ask you about kind of like, I feel like you guys, and Sam too, like you guys have kind of found a hack in the music industry, if you will, in the sense that you guys have a great thing going. You have cultivated fan base, very, very devoted fan base. But you are not boggled down by some of these walls you see here in Music Row, and some of the, when you go to some of these, like, whatever, all genre seminars or whatever, I feel like you guys have found a hack. What is it, Dustin? Is it the partnerships and the relationships that you've developed? I don't know. Like you work with like the Dude Perfect guys, for example. Like, how come people? I feel like this is not talked about enough. You guys have found the secret sauce here. You guys are thriving, creatively creating beautiful music, and you're kind of free from a lot of chains that a lot of our peers are having.
Well, I think, we get a lot of opportunities because we're not like on a major label, and we don't have publishing deals that are restrictive, and we're able to get a lot of our songs licensed into really cool opportunities. Since we're not going to go out and try to hustle for a radio single, probably, or we're not going to spend tons of cash trying to make that happen. We're utilizing some of these amazing relationships that our music actually overlays with really well, especially in the sort of sports world and, some of the ad world and things like that. And so we're using that as our sort of radio campaign, and some of our press sort of happens through these natural relationships. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess in some ways it's a hack, but, it's been what, like a 10, 12-year process at this point, sort of building out those, relationships and finding commonality where it's like I don't want it to just be like, hey, please use my song in a thing. It's like, we need the song like this, or song for this, because it makes the whole thing better. And I think that's when it becomes sort of a hack, when all those things kind of align.
It's really interesting, I think, too, like, I don't think that Dustin and I really think about genre as much as a lot of people think about. I would say that Dustin and I are probably multi-genre artists, and so it's like sometimes you'll hear a song from Dustin that's pop, and then sometimes you'll hear a song that's rock, and sometimes you'll hear a song that's almost borderline hip-hop, and it's the same in my world, too. And I think, the listeners these days are not as concerned about genre. They're more concerned about the emotion and the mood. And so, like, you have the chill playlist, you got the fierce playlist, you've got the, sports playlist, and and I definitely think that helps as well, because sometimes when you're like, oh man, I want to listen to something really chill and kind of sweet, oh, let's listen to Lizzie McAlpine, But if I want to listen to something fierce and like badass, well, I'm switching off of Lizzie McAlpine and I'm heading over to Rihanna, or I'm heading over to Dua Lipa, or whatever, And I think that, like, with us, no matter what mood you're feeling, you can find that in our catalog. And I think that's part of the hack as well. It's like, if you want something that's a little sweeter, I'm sure you could find it in either one of our catalogs. If you want to find something that's more cinematic and dark, you're going to find it. If you want to find something empowering, you're going to find it. And so that's part of it too, is not putting ourselves in a box. And I think some people don't like that, because then they can't put their finger on us. And it sometimes confuses some people that are doing playlisting or whatever else, these other kind of more down the middle, like marketing or industry things. But I think the thing that hurting us has helped us more than hurt us. So I think it's helped us more to do multiple genres, and helped us more to lean into like licensing and partnering with like brands and sports. And so, I mean, if there's any hack, it's really just like not being afraid to break boundaries and having no limits on what kind of song we're going to make, and really how many songs we release. So many people are like, I'm going to release one record this year and that's it. And I'm like, damn, that is just throwing like 3 darts at a dartboard and hoping that you hit the bullseye with one of them. I think with us, we've got 50 in hand. We've got 50 in hand, and we're like, wow, and hopefully we hit at least 10. And it's like, I just think it's giving us more chances to release more often. And I mean, I think Dustin's up to like 4 albums or something wild like that. So it's like, I think that's part of the hack too. It's a hack in the sense that, like, it works really well. We don't have to have industry behind us as much. The fans kind of drive it, but it's not a hack. And like he said, that it takes about 10 years for each one of us, and a lot of songs and a lot of work, and
Sure.
a lot of partnerships. But yeah, no, I'm glad you see that, because sometimes I feel like a lot of my friends are doing amazing things, and I'm like, does anybody see this? Look at Tommy Prophet. He's doing this gigantic Christmas thing at the Opry, and I'm like, he's got a huge choir and strings and all these artists. I'm like, this is amazing. This is incredible. Nobody's doing this, like
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
That's right, Sam. Very well said. Well, guys, let me leave you with this. You guys have done so many things, and you just talked about it. We could almost spend 30 minutes talking about the things you have done: movies, hockey, TV shows. Which one still gives you the chills, like in the Mount Rushmore, like on your epitaph? Which one, Dustin and Sam, do you say, man, that thing was just perfect for everybody involved? Which one still gives you the chills?
Sam, you go first.
Oh gosh,
I gotta think for a second.
I had a Samsung commercial one time, and there was zero dialogue, and literally the entire song was just the song was my song Wolves. And I thought it was so cool that literally the song carried the entire ad. And then when they told me it was worldwide, my brain exploded, because I was like, how many people are going to hear this song, going to experience this ad on multiple formats? Like, this will be touching, and hitting the ears of millions of people. Things like that remind you that like dreams are coming true, and it really helped me to like sustain a living for what I'm doing, to create more art. And it's just, it touches all the things. It's like, oh my gosh, they like my voice. Oh my gosh, so many people are going to hear it. And then it's sustaining a living, like, wow, this is so amazing. And it's worldwide. So there are people in places I'll never go that will hear my music. So I feel like that was definitely one of the biggest aha moments, and one that I remember and think about,
Right on.
Yeah. A couple of years ago, I got to work with the NBC sports team for a spot for Super Bowl 2021, and with some Olympians, and we shot this whole thing and this whole promo for the day of the Super Bowl and stuff like that. And I think that was just sort of a very sort of surreal experience kind of as a whole, because here we are standing by the Lombardi Trophy and cool sports thing, when there was all these Olympic gold medals and stuff there that they were shooting, and I got to put them all around my neck, and I was like, wow, this is pretty special sort of moment. That was really cool to just think about and think back about it. It'll always kind of be sitting around as something that was really special to do, that music brought it there. And I think the other one, I think it's really a tie between this and I had the walkout song for the Chicago Cubs. This was right before the year before COVID, so 2019. And they asked me to come up and throw the first pitch out at the Cubs game. And it was like from a kid from Illinois, to be able to go to Chicago, throw out a first pitch at a Cubs game on a baseball field that people have been playing in the same dirt for 100 and something years. It was really cool, So it's neat what music can do, and especially when it's overlaid by such spectacular events like the Super Bowl or sports teams and things. So cool stuff. Yeah.
Well, Sam, Dustin, you guys have said it all. What a great single. Maniac. Everybody go stream it. It's just fantastic. It makes you want to jump through a window and go kick some ass. But appreciate you guys. And Dustin, next time I see you at the Soho House, I will hover around you and have a little bit of your coolness and say hello.
Yeah, let's hang out, man. I love it.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
All right, see you.
We'll see you.